Hi, this is another DIY from Canvas ETC. We will be featuring a outdoor cushion pad. You will need a yard and a half of color fast dyed polyester canvas, a pair of scissors. You will also need a marking pen, and you will need an extra long zipper. This is good for upholstery, so it's somewhat heavy duty, and you will need at least a 36-inch zipper in length. You will need some cording, and the cording will go inside of our piping. Along with that, you will need some webbing used as our handle. I used a 4-inch high density foam, 22 by 22 inch squared. You will need thread, a rotary cutter, and a ruler. Take your panels. You will need 2 panels that measure 16 inches by 5 inches. 1 3/4 inches for piping, so just make some strips. You will also need one 23-inch by 5-inch panel, and you will need 6 inches of webbing. Here we have our 2 panels that will be put together with our zipper. That will measure 33 inches by 3 inches. You will also need 2 panels that measure 23 by 23 inches. And your pattern is all done. First, let's go and make our zipper panel. Take your panel, put the right sides together, and just sew a 1/2 inch seam down the middle. This is the way I like to apply my zippers. I use a running stitch, so that way after I sew the zipper on, I just cut that seam open. Place your zipper behind this with the seam flattened out. As you can see in the video, I'm putting the teeth of the zipper right in the middle of that seam. Make sure you secure your stitches at the beginning and at the end. You can also use double-sided tape to stick your zipper in, so that way it doesn't shift as you go. As you can see, I'm at the end. I like to open up my zipper so that way the tab is not in the way of me sewing that zipper down. Then do that same thing on the other side. Make sure that your seam is pressed open as you sew your zipper onto the back of your panel. And then just clip your threads. Be sure not to clip the material so that way you don't put a hole in it. And there you have it. That's the easy way of installing a zipper. Take your zippered panel and sew that right sides together to the smaller sides of the panel, which should measure 16 by 5 inches. And that's how that would look. As you can see, my zipper is longer than the panel that I needed, so I will just cut the excess off. With that seam, your zipper should not come apart. And then you want to take the 2 panels, the 2 smaller panels, and sew that right sides together with the panel that measures 23 by 5 inches. And set this aside. What you have done is you sewed a continuous loop for your side panels. And that's how that looks. Now you want to take your 1 3/4 inch strips, sew those right sides together, and these probably measure 1.5 yards in length. I like to sew my strips together so that way I don't have to add more strips as I sew. Take your piping or your cording, fold that strip around it, and then sew that to the top panel of your cushion. So it's the square part, the 23 by 23 inch square part of your cushion, and that is your top panel. As you sew the beginning, make sure that you curve your piping inside the seam so it won't stick out. And as you come to your corners, you want to clip your piping piece so that way you are able to pivot on the corner and then sew those sides down. As you can see, I like to insert my needle and then lift up my presser foot and then pivot my material and then go on and sew the rest. As you can see throughout this video, I will show you at each corner how I did that. So if you missed it, here it comes again. So a ½ inch toward the bottom, clip, insert your needle, and then pivot your fabric along with your piping. One thing you need to do is make an adjustment on your presser foot, is you need to either use a zipper foot in order to get close to that cording, as close as you can get. Here I demonstrate how to clip at the corners once more. Insert your needle and pivot your fabric along with your cording and your trim. I like to add piping to my cushion because it offers more of a structure to it, and I think it gives it a decorative look. All my seam allowances are ½ inch seam allowances. At the end, you want to take your cording and just pivot back into the seam and just sew over the previous one and make that look nice and neat. A lot of people like to cut the strip and then fold it over. I just assume do it this way. Here I am installing my handle. You'll want to put the handle in the middle of the back part of the panel and just clip that together. And then I will go ahead and sew the side panels to my top and bottom panels, making sure everything lines up. I put notches on my side panels and match those notches according to the top panels, top and bottom panels. I like to use clips to keep everything in place. Also, you'll want to remember to have your zipper opened in order for you to turn that inside out. All your seams are panels right sides together. And making sure that you remove your clips as you continue to sew. This project pretty much only took from start to finish about 2.5 hours. And then make sure that you secure your stitches at the beginning and at the end, because you don't want any of your seams to rip open. Also, another tip, just take it easy around your corners and make sure that all your layers are together. Again, you'll probably want to incorporate your zipper foot, your zipper presser foot in this application because it does give it a nice edge. You'll also want to clip your corners in order for your fabric to be allowed to stretch. As you pivot, make sure that your needle is inside the fabric. Secure your stitches at the beginning and at the end, and this project is all done. Clip all your threads, turn it inside out, and then insert your fabric. Actually, don't insert your fabric, but insert the foam, as you can see here. And then just zip it up, and you have a cute patio bench cushion. Now you can adjust all these measurements to accommodate what you have in store. What you want to do is just add an inch to your measurements. So if your cushion is 23 by 23, you'll just want to add an inch and make that 24 by 24 when you cut your fabric. And you are all done. Enjoy the outdoors. Thank you.